Okay, this Google Slides is an introduction to the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, the Pythagorean theorem has to do with a right triangle. Okay, a right triangle is a triangle with a right angle. Okay, simple as that, a triangle with a right angle. Okay, the sides of a right triangle have special names. Okay, the side across from the right angle is called the hypotenuse. Okay, the other two sides are called legs. Okay, the side across the street from the right angle is the hypotenuse. Okay, it's also the longest side of your triangle. Okay, a really good thing to know before we get into the good stuff. The edge of a square is the square root of the square's area. Real briefly here, here's a website that helps us see that. See, if I look at a square that has area 9, okay, a length of the square, which is 3, is the square root of its area. Okay, the edge of a square is the square root of its area. Let's look at another one. Let me get 16 here. Okay, so this is a square with area 16. Okay, an edge of this square is 4, and 4 is the square root of 16. Okay, you get it? An edge of a square is the square root of the square's area. Okay, and now let's look at the really, really important thing that really is the Pythagorean theorem. I'll show you this. The second link, if you go down here to Visual 2, okay, I'm going to have the class kind of play around with this. But what they're showing is a right triangle. Okay, they're showing a right triangle. The way that it's set up now is it has legs 4 and 5. 4 and 5. Okay, but look at the squares of this right triangle. The square of this leg, 4, is 16. The square of this leg is 25. And the square of the hypotenuse happens to be 41. Okay, and if you play around and drag these points around, you can see that anytime you have a right triangle, the squares of the legs will always equal the square of the hypotenuse. You see that? The square of these two legs, 16 and 64, add up to the square of the hypotenuse of 80. It always works. 16 plus 36, the squares of the legs, add up to 52. Doesn't matter what the sides are. These two squares have area of 16. These two legs have a square of 16. 16 plus 16 adds up to 32. So the big idea, the squares of the legs of a right triangle will always add up to the square of the hypotenuse. So the really big idea, in a right triangle, the square of one leg plus the square of the other leg always equals the square of the hypotenuse. We're going to use this big idea. The hypotenuse is across from the right angle. Okay, the length of a square equals the square root of its area. Those are two things we're going to use as well. Okay, we're going to use all this information to find the missing side of a right triangle. Okay, we'll do those in another video.